This video is brought to you by America First Insight. Help support the growing conservative movement by becoming a member today. And if you want to support this channel, you can also use the code REAL when becoming a member. Thank you and enjoy the video. As everyone knows, the 2026 midterm elections are happening this November, and more than likely, the Democrat Party will probably win it. That does not mean a historical blue tsunami or anything crazy like that. I guess it could happen, but at the end of the day, more than likely, we probably will see Democrats retake the House majority and possibly gain a couple Senate seats in November. However, I think it's a very unreasonable thing to say that the Republican Party has absolutely no pathway to winning 2026. It may be unlikely, and yeah, Democrats right now are favored. We're not going to say otherwise. But really, Republicans still have a chance to pull off the upset. Just look at this headline right here from Axios. Republicans are banking on Trump's wall of cash to stop Democrats in the midterms. And we've talked about this a bunch. How even though a lot of other metrics are indicating the Republicans are in deep trouble, Republicans right now still have an advantage in several critical metrics, including fundraising. This is without question the Republican Party's biggest advantage in 2026. Does this mean Democrats are going to lose 26? No, because fundraising isn't everything. But at the same time, we're not talking about some small advantage where one super PAC for the GOP is outraising Democrats. No, we're talking about a potentially historical margin between Republicans and Democrats. President Trump's super PAC plans to begin unloading its massive war chest around Memorial Day. Given a major boost to Republicans heading to a treacherous midterm elections, Axios has learned. So it sounds like by Memorial Day, we're finally going to start seeing Trump's super PACs, which we'll see in a second how much money they got. It is insane. They're going to finally begin to spend some of that money. It's very bizarre they haven't spent money yet. Really, no Republican group has. And this is something that a lot of people are kind of not mentioning. That, yeah, Republicans, they've had a bad stretch of elections in places like Wisconsin, Virginia, New Jersey. But you look at these races, and for whatever reason, the GOP has dropped the ball everywhere. They just refuse to spend money. For whatever reason, I don't know why. I get you don't want to spend everything on like Virginia, but they're not spending a dime anywhere. Democrats, meanwhile, are still spending a lot of money. A great example is in Georgia. We're talking about a Trump plus 35 seat, okay? So it's not a swing seat. It is a very Republican area, and the Republicans underperformed big time by like 20 points or whatever it was. And let's be clear, it wasn't just because of fundraising, it was turnout and other stuff as well. I get that. But guys, the Republican got outspent 5-1. The Democrat had $5 million. Yeah, it was a big advantage for Democrats. And the guy ran in 24. He already had name recognition. He overperformed Harris in 24. The point is, even with that, Republicans still won by 11. It's not, I'm not saying it's good or whatever, but that's context that people refuse to add. Like, we're not spending the money the Republicans have. I don't know why. Like, seriously, spend just a couple million here and there, and you win Georgia's 14th, probably by like 25 points. Still an underperformance, but not as bad as it was last night. Trump is cratering in the polls. I won't really go that far. I mean, yeah, compared to last year, yeah, he has gone down. But in the last couple of weeks, according to most pollsters, his approval has stayed kind of the same. Underwater, but not by 35 points or whatever some people are claiming. But his operation is one of the biggest political bank accounts in history and aims to unleash it for an election that will pit Democrat momentum versus Republican money. And I think that's a good way to put it. Democrats right now, they have a lot of momentum. I think some of it's kind of fake. I don't think it's sustainable. But yeah, they do got a lot of momentum heading into later this year. But at the same time, Republicans have this huge advantage they have not used whatsoever. They got infinite money. They have, at this point, fuck you money. It is insane what they got. Right here it mentions how much money they got. Trump's war chest, Again, we're not talking about the entire GOP. Just Trump's personal war chest has $500 million, 300 million in the pro-Trump MAGA Inc. super PAC, and several hundred million more in Secure American Greatness, an allied nonprofit that doesn't have to disclose its donations. So Trump's war chest alone, not including the RNC, not including the Senate GOP, the House GOP, the Republican Party, it does not include any of that. We're only talking about Trump's personal war chest, only two groups. We're not including Elon Musk group, none of it. Trump himself has $500 million just sitting there. And potentially, and we heard this even last year, their goal is to have $1 billion come November. That's a lot of money from just essentially one super PAC. One single group might essentially have $1 billion. Despite the terrible polls, a series of recent GOP election losses, and projections that the party could lose the House majority in November, top Republicans see hope in their financial might. Another thing they're counting on, a highly motivated Trump who can't seek re-election but is desperate to prevent a Democrat takeover of the House, which he thinks would lead to his third impeachment. And yeah, if Democrats get a one-seat majority in the House, they're going to impeach him every single day. No matter what Trump does, says, it can be during a shutdown, they're going to file new articles of impeachment every single day. It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a joke. It's going to help nobody. And on top of that, like Axios reports, Trump cannot seek re-election. He cannot run for another term. I know there's a meme that he wants to run for another term, but even if he could, he legally can't. But let's just assume that he could. I really don't think he wants to run again. I don't think he wants to run ever again. He's going to be, what, 82 come 28? He's getting up there in age. And I don't think he wants to run again. Yeah, he still is in good shape considering his age, but what is he going to look like come 28? I'm not saying he's Biden 2.0. He's far from it. It's clear he is mentally there. But at the same time, do you really think he can keep this up for another 4 years after 28? I don't think so. Of course, Trump's been one of the main focal points of the GOP until, well, the day he dies. But really, 2026, you could argue, is going to be the last election that you could really say is going to impact Trump directly. Because if Trump loses the House majority, well, guess what? He's going to get absolutely nothing done in the final 2 years of his term. Nothing's going to happen. He does not have 2028 to bank on and try to win re-election and take back the House. No, he does not have that. So that's a big deal. So for Trump, this is kind of it. When you think about it, yeah, it's kind of the last major election that could impact Trump's legacy directly. Of course, stuff in 28 could happen that could indirectly impact Trump, but still, you get the point. The president is aggressively hitting up donors and hosting $1 million a plate fundraisers at his Mar-a-Lago estate. Democrats are scrambling to raise money, but have nothing comparable to Trump's cash flush operation. The Democrat National Committee, again, this is a separate committee. Remember what I said earlier about the Trump super PAC? That's not the entire GOP. Well, the Democrat National Committee has been outraised by the GOP 7-1. Yeah. The Democrat National Committee has no money. The RNC, they're raking in a fortune. And it's the same thing for basically every single group compared to their Democrat counterpart. Republicans outraising Democrats by historical margins. They have fuck you money. And that does not include Elon Musk. Elon Musk, we don't know how much money he's going to spend, but everybody knows he has fuck you money. He could spend $2 billion and really that would not impact him at all. That's like chump change to him. It's like not even 1% of his wealth. It is insane how much money he could theoretically spend. Trump aides are using some of their operations money to build a massive data operation targeting hard to reach voters. I think this is very smart. This is the one thing Republicans need to have. Turnout. You have to get these people out to vote in midterm. We've gone over this a million times already, but for those that don't know, the Democrat Party, they're now the party of high propensity voters, meaning It doesn't matter what the election is. It can be some random local election no one ever heard about. Their voters are voting, no matter the time of the year, no matter the race. It can be uncontested. These people are voting. Republicans, meanwhile, they're low propensity, meaning they might vote in the presidential year. Outside of that, they never vote. And that's a big reason why Democrats are having such big victories in these special elections. Republican voters, they're not voting. Senior Trump political advisors told major donors last week that they've designed a data program targeted to voters in roughly 36 House districts and several states that have key Senate races in November. They said they've been refining their data program since the 24 campaign. Good. So apparently, they're using the 2024 data program that they had that worked very good, and they've refined it. They made it better. They've expanded it. And this, like, it's just casually mentioned, by the way. It's not like a big deal, just casually mentioned. Yeah, we have infinite money, so we could just casually expand quite possibly the biggest and most efficient data program in history. We could just casually do that because we have infinite money. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal that they have this. That's good because Republicans got to get their voters out to vote. As with anything when it comes to Trump, plans could change at a whim. The president is notoriously protective of his money and takes great interest in how it's spent. Some top Republicans worry that Trump might decide not to spend from his allied super PAC and simply keep all the cash or wait to unload it just before the election. I don't think he's going to do this. He did this in the past here and there. The difference is, though, he had to worry about re-election. Like, for example, they're going to bring up 2022. Yeah, right here. What happened in 2022? Guys, he's going to run for president in 24. That's why he didn't spend all this money. I think it was stupid. I think he should have spent more than he did. But guys, Trump, he's going to spend money this time. This is essentially his final re-election when you think about it, because if he doesn't win the House, guess what? Democrats are going to do everything they can to block Trump's agenda on every issue. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be common sense stuff. It's going to get blocked, and he's going to get impeached every single day. Trump doesn't want that. This is his re-election. That's why I think he's going to treat this like a general. Hell, Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, said a couple months ago, Trump is going to treat 2026 as a general election because really it is. This is really the last election that Trump is going to be the number one focal point in everything. He still will be in 28, but at that point, that's probably going to change. This is for sure the last one you could say, yeah, he is one of, if not the most biggest focal points in the election. And he has all this money just sitting there. They have all this money just sitting there, not being used. Some Republicans warn that all the TV ads in the world won't be able to change how voters feel about the economy. The issue that surveys indicate is most likely to swing the election, which I agree with. I should be clear about this. We're not saying that you're going to outspend Democrats by a big margin to win. No, you still have to have a good economy. It has to be improving. You have to improve your image. But guys, it's not just TV ads. They're clearly indicating they're going to spend a bunch of money at getting these voters out to vote, a turnout operation. And TV ads, they're not everything, but they still will help Republicans a bit because they got to flood the airwaves, or they're going to flood the airwaves because they have infinite money across the board. And that's how you gain a narrative. They're going to try to define Democrats as batshit crazy. Trump is doing everything he promised to do. Everything's getting better objectively. And that's what Trump's strategy is, or his campaign strategy really is. Define the Democrat Party as batshit crazy. That's why I wish Democrats or Republicans would spend money now. Like, what are you waiting for? I get they're saying Memorial Day, but start right now. So how about wait till right after the war in Iran, which we have 2 weeks to decide to figure out what's going on there. And after that, unleash the war chest. Spend half a billion dollars. You're going to have $1 billion come election day. Start spending money now. Build operations right now. Flood Democrats across the board. They can't respond to any of it. And do not let them gain any sort of momentum. Stop any momentum they have right now. So overall, this is really good for the GOP. I like what I'm hearing. I still want to see it happen though, because again, Trump is Trump. He can change his mind in anything, but I don't think he's going to just not spend money this year. Could that happen? Sure. But this is kind of his last reelection. You think about it. So we're going to see what happens. But I do think Republicans have this advantage that Democrats, they don't got. They don't got money compared to the GOP. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.